Hey everybody, it's John and Troy with the Paranormal Task Force. Welcome
That's
to
us.
our welcome to our new podcast. We're going to be doing a weekly podcast, just giving you guys a little history into us and background into us, and kind of showing you guys ourselves.
Maybe a little behind the scenes footage here and there.
Definitely.
Um, Obviously, this is a fresh new thing. We're still working on the title. If anyone has a recommendation, drop it in the comments. We can do this like Fallout Boy, how they got their name. Let's crowdsource it.
Right. So,
Anyway, we I was talking about the podcast with Dad for a little bit, and he brought up to me that it's been about a year since we first dropped the very first episode of the Paranormal Task Force at the USS Hornet. That was uploaded March 15th, right?
yeah, I believe that was the date. Yeah, but we,
Yeah.
we just celebrated. I think we just hit the 1 year mark. So,
Yeah, we just hit the 1 year mark. We just hit the 20,000 subscriber mark. So thank you all for watching, commenting, and just being involved, checking out our stuff. If I'm being totally honest, I didn't think a year ago, I was happy when the stuff was getting 100 views. And now we've got Queen Mary episodes getting over 50,000. And I'm like, kind of just sitting here like, man, who's watching us bozos do this? But to all you people watching us bozos, thanks for doing it. And I hope that we're providing you with, entertainment first and foremost, but also, just a little bit of, I guess, informative stuff on the paranormal,
well,
as
yeah,
informative as we can be.
yeah, and with that, I mean, we don't claim to be professionals. I mean, this is
No.
we're by far not, paranormal professionals, okay? We're people that took an interest in the paranormal. I've had an interest in the paranormal for, oh God, 40 years.
Longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, and so we're not professionals. We don't claim to be. Um but it's something that we have a passion for, and it's
Yeah.
something that we enjoy doing.
I think the best way to put it is that we are enthusiasts,
Yes.
but obviously we want to go about this the right way. We want to Dad said this since the very early days of the content. The whole point and why we do, instead of like 25 or 30-minute videos, is we want people to see what the investigation is really like when we're there, because we're at most locations for anywhere between like 8 to 12 hours usually,
Yeah.
sometimes a little bit less, possibly a little bit more.
Yep.
um but like, that's why you get 4 1 hour episodes. But um like, we want to put at least a little bit of that dead space in there, because I always equate the investigating to like fishing. You know what I mean? You kind
Yeah.
of sit on the boat for hours at a time and you might catch like 3 fish, but it's really exciting when you do. And obviously, we've had some locations that are more active. Queen Mary comes to mind, Mackey Mansion. Um, and then some less so. I know that, gosh, I'm trying to think of any that I can really think that were like
Um.
actually less active. I mean, maybe the first time you went to the Clown Motel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had some activity, but it wasn't, the greatest experience. The big thing too is, like Troy was saying, that the reason for the way we shoot the videos is I don't want to set people up to think that if you go to one of these locations that you've seen us go to in a video, that you're just going to get activity from start to finish, because it just doesn't happen that way. And
Right.
I know a lot of the videos people watch, it seems that way, but you've got a lot of people, and I'm not bashing on anybody, because I watch all the other creators and I enjoy their content. But by watching those videos, you think, they're there for the same amount of time we are, 8 to 12 hours, and they put out a 1 hour video. So it's so condensed that all you're seeing is activity from start to finish. And it makes you think, oh, if I go there, yeah, it's just going to be so haunted that it's so crazy. And it's, it's not like that. I'm trying to put out a product that people can watch and kind of get a feel for what investigations are really like.
And I think more than anything, obviously I don't want to speak for you, Dad, but so feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you like to share this passion with anyone who will listen. Like,
Yeah.
You started pretty much with like me and Uncle Chris, but now it's become a thing where, we're getting a community involved with it.
Yep.
And I think more than anything, what we want is if you really take like a vested interest in this and you want to go do this yourself, we kind of just want to give you a realistic expectation of what happens when you go to a place so that you don't walk in and within the first 5 minutes things aren't talking to you and you're like, well, this was a bummer. I don't know where all the activity went. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, when we first went to the Hornet, well, we kind of sort of had stuff from the jump, so I wasn't expecting that. And he really tried to temper my expectations and be like, we could get nothing, we could get a lot. And so, I'd gotten off work earlier in the day and drove down to Alameda so that I could go get on the haunted boat with my dad and my uncle and just putz around. But anyway, talking about the Hornet, it is the 1 year anniversary or pretty close to it at this point. So what we really wanted to do was kind of look back at our first investigation a year later and see just the differences in how we conducted the investigation, what devices we had, kind of what we didn't know then that we do now.
Well, and in all honesty, when we did the Hornet, we bit off way more than we could chew. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
that was our very first investigation. I mean, we really didn't know what the hell we were getting into. That location is very, very large, and it can be difficult to navigate. And we didn't know all this going in. I mean, and
No.
back then we were using the big camcorders, and I mean, it's we've evolved. We've definitely evolved over time. So, while we're not claiming to be professionals, we've learned from
Past mistakes?
I don't even want to say mistakes, but we've taken what we've learned and incorporated that into what we do now, and that's everything from equipment to video editing to everything. Like if you watch the early stuff versus the new stuff, it's a whole different ball game.
I mean, I think just looking at it from the perspective that we edit the videos together and all that, one of the biggest things that I noticed when we scrubbed back through the Hornet stuff compared to looking at what we did most recently with the Queen Mary is on the Hornet, it was just you, me, and Uncle Chris carrying cameras. We didn't really set up any static cameras.
Right.
All the footage that you guys got to see and any footage that we're going to pull to show you today, that's all from cameras we were holding. Like Dad said, the big camcorders. I mean, I didn't think too much of it at the time because they're nice cameras,
They're
like
very good
they
cameras.
shoot real good, but I'm a Bay native, so I know the Hornet. I've been on the Hornet plenty of times in my life, and that it really is massive, but you don't understand it till you get on there and the people that run the place basically go, yeah, so you have free reign of this whole part of the ship, like
Right.
4 or 5 levels up and down, huge from like the med bay all the way to the back of the ship where you can go outside and you can get a great view of San Francisco at night.
Right.
But it's massive. Getting around it was, the stairs are not stairs. We'll get into that in more detail in a bit,
Yeah.
but and Dad, being who he is, he loves to be prepared. He never wants us to not have something that we need. So he brought 3 big ass flight cases of equipment that we had to lug up the stairs, both outside and then into the ship. And I think the hardest part was actually when we had to get it down the stairs into the med bay, because that was our home base for the night.
Yeah.
I was like, I was sitting there like, oh, I don't want to drop the equipment, but I also don't want to drop me. Because I
Right.
was like, that will end our investigation immediately.
Well, and you know, the cases of equipment back then, that was all the original equipment, which we still have.
Oh, yeah.
And we still use some of that equipment, but like, for example, things that have evolved with us is back then, that was our first investigation. We were using those little, you know,
The
those
dinky
little,
REM pods.
yeah, the cheap REM pods. Now we've got the nice, you know, actual REM pods. Our cameras went from the big camcorders to the Pocket 3s.
Shout outs to DJI.
Yeah, great cameras. The only thing I will say, DJI, if you're listening, put night vision in the damn cameras.
Here I am thinking he's going to ask for a sponsorship or something, and he's just like,
No.
no, I want night vision.
I mean, it's such a good camera. The only improvement they could make would be to add night vision. Add night vision to the freaking camera.
This is why he's the brains of the operation. Oh, wait, my screen's mirrored. He's the brains of the operation. And I'm kind of the ha-ha fun guy. Not as much as Uncle Chris. He's the comedy and the heart of it all.
And we'll get to that later.
You know, but I'm just here to look pretty mostly. But
so since we were talking about the Hornet and how green we were, okay, I'm gonna pull up a clip, and this is a clip. Now, granted, you know, well, we'll play the clip and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should have mine rolling too, because I don't want to waste the battery. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, because we got 2 body cams. Yeah.
So to summarize that real quick, obviously it's our first investigation. I wasn't even mic'd up for that because we didn't have a mic for me, because it all kind of came together real quick.
Yeah.
But my dad and my uncle were mic'd up, and right there you could see my uncle completely forgetting his mic's on. Just,
and
you know,
trying to whisper. He's trying to whisper like nobody's gonna hear him talking about whether he should record or not.
Let me pull my mic in real quick because we're recording. It was basically him turning to me behind him going, dude, do you think that I should be rolling right now? Because I don't want to waste the battery. And it's just clear as day.
Mic on. Anyway, so
once again, just a very good example of how inexperienced we were, and how we definitely were in over our heads when we started, because we did not know how to investigate. We didn't know how to be on camera. Like, a lot has changed. And you know, Uncle Chris obviously isn't with us here right now, but shout outs to him. We clown on him a lot, but
he's a beloved member of the team for sure.
Yeah, he really is the heart of it all. Like,
you know, and like I said, we bit off more than we could chew with the Hornet, because I'm not, anybody that knows me knows, not like I'm not a super active person. Like, I get out of the house, we go, and you know, I like to travel. But
wait, you get out of the house?
Oh yeah, when I'm not editing. No, I mean, we travel, we go walk around amusement parks and stuff like that, but I'm not a super active guy. I mean, a lot of times I'm in front of the computer working on videos and stuff like that. Boy, I was not prepared for the amount of exercise we were going to have to do on the Hornet. Hey, should I play the clip?
Yeah, play the clip and then I'll address it. But
okay,
this one got me. This didn't make it in the original video. We cut it obviously because well, you'll see.
Woo. One step at a time.
Right.
It's almost like a ladder.
Yeah, I just don't want to drop my camera.
Really struggling there, huh?
This is the highest we're going. The rest is all downhill.
Okay. Woo.
Yeah, rest is all downhill. Thank God.
And I love how Chris is giving me the motivation behind me, one step at a time. I know one step at a time. The problem is that shit was steep.
And again, like, I think we would. So I'm obviously more active. Like, I get around. I go on like a run once a week or something. I'm not active, you know what I mean? But I'm the youngin. I am the task force's baby. So
Right.
like, even I was struggling. But like, I think mine was more so based on the fact that you had to climb those, and they're steep. They're almost ladders, just kind of like tilted ladders a little bit. We had to basically climb them with one hand because of the damn camcorders, because they were so big. Like, and you hear him in the clip. He's like, I don't want to drop my camera. That's what I'm thinking the whole time. I'm like, okay, if I fall, save the camera, because Dad won't care if I fall. He'll care if the camera gets busted.
Hey man, those cameras are expensive.
See, that's exactly what I meant. But he's not wrong. Those cameras are expensive, and this was at a point in time where we had equipment, like probably more than most do when they're first starting out. But now, like, one of these podcasts, I think it's really just going to have to come down to, hey, here's all the equipment, and we're going to just start going over stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely go over some equipment. I got a couple pieces here that we can show off later on. Let's see where we go with all this. But
anyway, those stairs, that was to get us up to the first part of the investigation, which was in the admiral and captain's quarters, which is part of the ship that you can't normally access. But one of the cool things that the crew over at the Hornet does when you rent out the place to do an investigation like we did, they start you in areas of the ship, starting up there, and you kind of work your way towards the area where you have free reign to investigate. Because they close all those doors behind you. So once you've concluded your investigation there, they shut it back up just because, they don't want anything to happen. Most of them are like historical preserved spaces. So the fact that we even get in there and do that kind of stuff is very cool. But basically, we start our investigation in the captain's quarters. Or actually, no, sorry, it was the admiral's table.
Yeah, admirals.
You want to pull up that clip and then we'll talk about it?
Yeah, here we go.
There's already something. What the Yeah. Hold on, where did he say the Wi-Fi thing was? Over there. By the curtain. That's further away. Holy shit.
Okay, I want to address the Wi-Fi thing real quick. Now, the Hornet has Wi-Fi, and the guides were showing us, like, on the walls, you'd have these spots where you'd see these little, like, blue circles, and those were the Wi-Fi things, so that the Wi-Fi goes to the ship. And he was like, just be careful about setting up your devices too close to them.
Right.
Anyway, now that that's out the way, the device wasn't anywhere near there, and Uncle Chris takes the REM pod and he just puts it down at the door to the admiral's room, and off rip, things just going off. And I went into the investigation very skeptical. I'm not like my dad, where I was a big believer in the paranormal. I'd seen some things in 20-something years that I couldn't explain, but nothing that I was just like, oh, it's ghosts, dude. But like,
Troy was so green that the first time he heard the music box, it startled him.
Okay, wait. Before you roll that,
play the clip.
No, before you roll that, I want to just let everyone know, because you see the camera footage with our lights on, or with night vision. It was so dark. I'm not exactly afraid of the dark per se, but
here come the excuses.
No, Johns. No, it was very unsettling. Go ahead and roll the clip, and I'll talk about it.
All right. Music box is calibrated.
Why you gotta have the creepy music box?
All right, so
No.
it's very creepy. Let's have a
Yeah. I wasn't familiar with a single device we were using because so Dad and Uncle Chris put all of this together, right? And I'm on my lunch and I get a call from him like maybe a day or two before the investigation, something like that. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in the Bay." And I was like, "Oh, cool, let's get together." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do an investigation on the Hornet with your uncle. You want to come?" And I was like, "What?" Normally, he shows up in the Bay and I'm like, "Cool, let's get lunch. Maybe we'll go watch some wrestling. I don't know. Get dinner." So this was just like out the blue, but I'm like, well, when am I going to get a chance to do this again? Little did I know I would get a lot of chances, but yeah, he flips on the music box and no one's told me it's going to calibrate. There's like creepy music that plays with it. So yeah, of course I was like, what's that? What's that about, dude?
Well, and then, yeah, I don't know, the music box caught you by surprise, and then we end up venturing from the admiral's quarters into the captain's quarters, and that's where things kind of got interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
the admiral's quarters, we had the REM pod activity and stuff, but the things that happened in the captain's quarters were a little more personable.
Yeah.
So,
I think I really wish Uncle Chris was here to comment on that, but
well,
you know.
but before Chris, what just happened to my camera? I don't know. Let me fix that.
He really wanted a wide angle, you know. He just
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. My camera. It must be my hand movements. My camera just did something stupid. All right.
This is why I run with a cheap camera because I can do all this and nothing
Yeah, whatever.
changes.
I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do
mic.
that. It might mess with my camera. Don't do that.
My hand movements mess with your camera.
I mean, I'm just saying. At this point, I don't know. I don't even know what made it do that. So anyway, before Chris's experience in the captain's quarters, me and Troy actually had our own. So let's
we did.
roll that. Let's roll that clip.
Hit it. Oh shit.
Did you hear? What? Holy shit.
That made me sneeze.
So I don't know if, I mean, I think the audio came through okay. But you can clearly hear a knocking when we walk into the captain's room.
It sounds pretty deliberate too, because like you hear a total of, I think 3 knocks. It's almost rhythmic because you hear like bump, bump, bump.
Yep. And I believe that was right after I said, "Captain, are you here?"
I think so, yeah. But
we heard the knocking.
That got cut.
Yeah. So then shortly after that, Chris comes in the room and he gets blown.
Yeah. So those windows open?
No. There's no ventilation in here.
Yeah, I just felt like,
Did it feel like something touched your ear?
I felt like in the back of my ear.
Really?
Yeah. Right here.
Well, that's weird because we heard tapping on this.
Yeah, I was standing right, I felt it right here. Are you here?
Okay.
So, real quick, a couple of things. When Chris has an experience, he talks about it the entire night. Okay. So,
Yeah.
10 hours later, we're in the mess hall and he's still talking about something touching his ear.
Are you the one that blew on my ear?
Yeah. And then you can talk about the "are you here" thing, because that.
Yeah. So technically speaking, that right there was the birth of a catchphrase.
Which we'll show you more later.
There's gonna be more "are you here," but that was the first time that he actually said it. And if you've watched a decent chunk of our content, ranging from the videos where he's investigating to like us playing Phasmo, he almost always says it. But there's a reason for that, and we'll get there. But
Yeah, it goes back to the Hornet.
All the Hornet was the birth of Are You Here? You know, like,
and there will be a merch. There will be a shirt in our merch
Are You
store
Here?
that says "Are You Here?"
Yeah, I'll be repping that all the time. You guys are gonna see a lot of Are You Here? But anyway, so the captain's quarter, like the admiral's quarters, we got the REM pod activity. I think at one point we also got a cat ball going off, but like Dad said, we definitely got stuff that was a little bit more, I don't know if personal is necessarily the word I would use, but certainly a little more targeted, I think. A couple of things that are in the video that we didn't bother to clip here because, you know, it's in the video. You know, we got more REM pod activity. There was actually a little vault, almost like kind of like the captain's secret office or something. It was his office, and then there was a vault in back, and you could go in the vault. And I distinctly remember I pulled the door open a little bit, and I was stepping in there, and as soon as I crossed the threshold, our REM pod that was in, like, by the captain's table started hitting as soon as I started going in there. And that was definitely weird. But all of that kind of pales in comparison to the activity we got in the teletype room. Because, you know, that's a super secret area. It's behind all kinds of locked doors and stuff. And it's like a very do not enter part of the ship, at least when it was in operation.
Right.
So that was probably some of the craziest activity we got all night. Go ahead and roll it.
Never mind.
Did that just light up?
I seen it light up. That's why
That's a short. It didn't play, but it lit up.
okay. Yeah, because
That means it saw something.
Because my eyes,
Whoa!
it just went off.
It just went off.
Dude, because my eye went crazy. Like when I thought it was. I thought it was.
Look! Dude, I've got the chills right now.
So
Was your camera facing that way when that happened?
I don't think so.
No. Look, we got the REM pod going off. We got this going off.
So you like having us here, right?
Yo,
Are you in that doorway?
there's no way for that to go off
REM
unless
pod.
something's in front of it, dude. Keep shooting the music box. There's no way for that to go off unless something is in front of it, dude. Oh, wow.
And the REM pod.
Yeah.
We're getting so much activity in here.
Are you... Do you enjoy having visitors?
So, real quick, I just wanted to say, when he started asking, "Are you in the doorway?" I thought he was about to say, "Are you here again?"
Right.
But anyway, to go once again get into how green I was, that was the moment I started to get very uncomfortable with what we were doing, because you could feel it in the room. Like, the whole ship was like cold, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of sections of it that are just wide open. It sits on the water of the San Francisco Bay at the over at the old military base in Alameda, and there's like, it's windy. You know, we did this in like February of 24, I think, or like early March. So it's windy, it's cold, and for whatever reason, that room was warm. Like, you could really feel the difference in temperature. And like, we had that REM pod kind of going berserk, like, and there's moments where it almost seems like we're getting intelligent communication from it, because you got Dad asking questions like, did you follow us from the captain's quarters? Did you follow us from here? Like, are you a sailor? This, that, and the other. And like, we would get either like long hits or short hits, almost like a yes and no. And then, of course, you have the music box, which that was the first time that we ever had the music box go off. Obviously, not the last, but...
And it was pointed out an open door with nothing in the other room.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, that was wild. And for it to go off like that would just point it out the door. And that was literally our very first experience. And the big thing, like you were talking about, you can feel it. That's the hardest thing to get across to the viewers in the videos, is the feelings that we're getting in these locations. And that's why we try to tell you, oh, I've got the chills, or oh, it's hot in here, or because there's no way to convey that through the camera.
Right.
And but there is a feeling that comes along with this when activity starts happening. There is a feeling, and you can actually, when the activity dies down, you can usually feel that feeling lift. So
Yeah. I mean, if you watch the Hornet video where we're in the teletype room and all this is happening, I think there's a point where we switch the music box on and off,
right.
and then kind of the activity just stops, and we, maybe a minute later say like, it feels different in here because like it was colder, just all kinds of stuff. Like when we did the Queen Mary recently, we had a larger crew for that one, incidentally. But there's a point where we're all in B340, and we had the which device was that gives you the vibration and the temperature, Dad?
That's the new Solus from Ghost Stop.
So we had the Solus running, and we had been kind of taking a look at the temperature, but we had jumped from somewhere around like 70 degrees in the room at one point up to around like 80 or 82.
Actually, I got up to 86.
Oh, it was 86. Okay, so yeah, like pretty big change in temperature. Adding 3 people into the room, I don't think is going to make a 16-degree difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we left, went and did other stuff on the ship, and came back, and it wasn't as warm. But we also got next to no activity after that.
Yep.
But
so, the other, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. There's feelings that go along with the activity, and unless you go and do this yourself, it's hard to describe what those feelings feel like.
Right.
Some of it is like static electricity. Some of it is the chills. Some of it is like you get really hot. It's really hard to describe.
See, and I know that when we're on the investigation, we will verbally make a note of what we're feeling, especially when it's something like a little more intense.
Right.
And like Dad was saying, it's just hard for us to convey that outside of just saying like, I have the chills. Oh, it's really hot. I think at one point on one of the investigations, maybe the Queen Mary, I said like, I feel like staticky, almost like I have an electric charge running through me or something. And like, as much as it sucks to say, like, we don't have a way to really like show you that in a tangible way. So you just kind of got to take us at our word for it. But like, I can promise you those things are very, very real.
Yeah. Well, why don't we, let's switch gears. Let's talk about you being the team's guinea pig.
Yeah. So while we were looking at our clips for this first episode of the podcast, I remembered there's a certain part in the med bay where we do an investigation, and go ahead and roll the clip. I'll continue on after.
I look a little too big for it. It looks a little skinny bed back.
Oh, wait, what happened? Oh,
yeah.
Is
it there? Yeah, there it is.
I want you to get on the bed.
Your face when I said I want you to get on the bed.
Yeah, man, come on.
It looks a little skinny bed back.
Dude, like, oh yeah, get on this potentially haunted thing. Like, I'm sure plenty of people have either been severely injured or died on that bed. So son, hop on.
They told us we could get on that bed.
They did tell us we could get on the bed, but the reason I wanted this in there is because this is also the birth of Troy being the task force guinea pig. Anytime it's like, oh, we need someone to do something, It's always going to be me. And
you're
that's
the
fine.
you're the young one.
Yeah, that means I have the most life to live.
You're
But
also the smallest one.
that's also true. Like, okay, so if you watch the Queen Mary, the isolation ward, I wasn't the guinea pig for that. Or if I was, that was self-inflicted.
your choice.
I made that choice. But I'm
Yeah.
glad I did, because that is some of my favorite footage. But with
Well,
that,
you're not, and you're not the only one that's been startled, because you got.
Mackie Mansion with Uncle Chris when it
Well,
called him out.
I have a clip here from the Hornet.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Chris are like, we get startled. You want to roll it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently, but this box here is further here. Did you hear that?
See,
I got to roll that again, because did you see our faces?
Well, these are sick bay bunks apparently, but this box here is further here. Did you hear that?
oh man. Okay, see, the thing I like about that is, like, out of the three of us, you don't emote that much comparatively.
Right,
You know,
right.
like I said, he is the brains of the operation, but he's also the one that I think is the most comfortable with all of what we're doing. So, like, it takes something pretty decent to shake him up. So, I'm not sure how well the audio came across in that clip for anyone like watching this in video form or listening later.
That was
Obviously,
a loud bang.
I got the headphones on, but you can hear a very distinctive, like, it's like a bang, almost like a clatter, like something got knocked over and was like rolling on the floor.
And it sounded like it was something large. Like, that wasn't just a small tap. That was a big bang.
No.
And you could tell by the way both of us instantly,
Yeah, I got you guys on camera, and then you see me with the camera like flipping around, because of course I'm standing the closest to it too. So I'm sitting there like, oh hell, I don't want to deal with this. There's a lot of those moments. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to speak for anybody else on the task force, but I know that every single location I go to, there's always going to be at least one or two moments where I'm like, why did I agree to do this?
Yeah, there's I'll be honest. Every location we do is unique, and there, we get different types of activity at locations. And again, we're not professionals, so
No.
we don't claim that every bit of activity we get is paranormal. Do we react to it? Yeah, because you're sitting there and all of a sudden something starts happening, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" But I will also say that I have no doubt in my mind that the locations that we have been to, we've all walked away with experiences that has made us believe that location is haunted.
Yeah,
that
100%.
something is happening there. And it's, I don't know, but in the heat of the moment, my focus is trying to get the evidence. So I don't really, it's hard to get scared when you're focused so hard on, hey, we got to get this evidence.
Yeah, that's true too.
So you're in a different mindset, I guess, when you're there investigating. Now, if I had just been there and that stuff happened and I wasn't investigating, yeah, I'd probably run out, because there were some things that happened that were like, dude, what the hell? But I'm glad that we've done this, that we're starting this podcast, because once again, we're celebrating a year, and we want to bring you guys as much content as we can. And the weekly podcast is going to be something new for you guys to watch and listen to, because we're also going to be putting this podcast on the audio platforms. So if you don't have time to watch, listen to it on the audio platforms. But if you're on the audio platforms and you want to see these videos we're showing, you're gonna have to go to our YouTube channel and watch the videos.
Always do what I do. Listen to podcasts while you work. It's great.
All right.
Nope. Train of thought's gone. Anyway, to to I guess speak more on what Dad was saying. We've definitely left every location we've gone to with some maybe not life-changing experiences. Some of them yes, some of them no, but certainly experiences that memorable,
Yes.
I think is a good word to use it.
Well,
Um,
and with that, let me just discuss one thing that happened on the Hornet that we have absolutely no video footage of.
Oh!
So we, at the end of our investigation, we're packing up the equipment. Everything's off. All the cameras are off. All the equipment is off. And right outside the med bay, we clearly hear footsteps walking down the hall and somebody whistling. Not just a whistle, like a short whistle, like it
no,
was
they
like
were whistling a tune.
yeah, like a whistling a tune while you're strolling down the street kind of whistle.
Yeah, something like a doctor who was making his rounds to check up on his patients in the med bay would have been whistling while he was walking through there. And like
Exactly.
the hallway, so where we are, we're in the actual kind of like the sick bay. It's just a whole bunch of bunks, which is where the sick guys would stay, you know? And it goes out into a hallway that has like a T section. And so we're like at the bottom of the T, and it sounded like someone was at the top of the T, just crossed right by there, whistling, and you heard very audible footsteps. But there's no way that could have been an actual person, because
No.
the one person left on the ship with us for the rest of that night was a singular security guard, and it couldn't have been him because he was in a section of the ship that was more or less blocked off from us, and we had a radio for when we needed to contact him. When we did eventually leave, he was asleep.
Yeah, we found him asleep. So,
and that was
yeah,
like that was within 10 minutes of that incident.
Yeah, that was wild. So that was an experience that, again, like we were saying, we have these personal experiences at these locations. That was a personal experience that wasn't on camera, wasn't on audio.
I'm still so mad that we didn't get that, dude.
So am I. But you know what? We know it happened, and we know that it couldn't have been a human person.
Right.
So, but you know, I think I don't know. What do you think? We're about to be at the end of this podcast for today.
I think we're getting towards the end of it. I just wanted to. Okay, I got my train of thought back right after we were talking about that. So I just wanted to, in regards to like even why we're doing a podcast now, and we already have the content that we have. I really wanted to do it because I like interacting with the community, and I want to be able to have like a better platform than just the investigation videos, because like Dad was saying, you're so focused on getting evidence, you don't have time to be scared. You don't really have time to do much besides investigate, especially because every location we go to, we are on a time limit.
Right.
Like, even if it's 12 or 13 hours, there's so much setup and other things in preparation that have to go into these that there comes a point where it's crunch time and you're like, I still have to do all this, especially a place like the Hornet where it's just so massive. You know, there was a whole bunch we didn't do.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that reason was because we were tired. By the time we were done, everyone was hurting. Like, my back was hurting. So you can imagine how those two felt, you know?
That was a crazy place, man.
But I think that the podcast will be a really good platform for you guys to be able to see more of who we are behind the scenes,
right,
off of investigations, you know? And I think it's just a better chance for us to talk to all of you without the onus of like, oh, I'm sitting here with my camera, I got to make sure I get all this evidence, you know? Like, actually, there is one clip we have to roll
to end this.
Yeah, we do have.
So all right. So the way we're going to end this podcast today is we already talked about the "Are you here?" The birth of
here?
the birth of Are You Here? All right. Now, this clip did not make it into the video because
For obvious reasons when you watch it.
we were delirious at this point, and you can see it in the video.
It's sometime after midnight. It's probably about 1 a.m.
Yeah. If
and
not later.
yeah, it's late. But look, I'm just gonna sum this up. This is footage we have not released before. We thought this would be fun for the podcast because obviously, we're putting footage we didn't put in the episodes because it doesn't really track when we're trying to make a serious episode, but this is a better place for us to have more fun with it. Like I said, it's a little bit more about us and you guys. And I like to have fun. So this is my thing here.
Okay.
Anyway, but we're going to roll the clip. We are going to sign off here and let the clip speak for itself. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Is a doctor here?
They're laughing at me, and all this guy said, "Are you here?"
What?
Everywhere we go, "Are you here?"
What are you talking about?
That's exactly how you say it every time. Am I right? Isn't that how he says it every time? Are you here?
You always start repeating your fool. I'm gonna start repeating your. He's in dire of need. Is there a doctor?
But every room we go to, "Are you here?"
I'm gonna start saying he's in dire of your help or something.
Just because you don't know what the word dire means.
I wouldn't even use that vocabulary though.
No, that's
I'd be like,
exactly.
he's in need of your help, not in dire.
Are you here? Hey, we're laughing. They said that draws them in.
Hey, doctor, what room are you in? Like,
Doctor to room 1.
dude, we don't know this is room 1, dude.
For now, it's room 1.
Are you here? Can you speak?
Are you here?
It's the doctor here. Come on, doc. Whoa. Oh, that has to be those lights. That's weird. My screen.
We obviously are getting delirious.
My screen was turning black or something. But
We've been up too late.
Dude, what the f is...
Dude, it's barely past midnight.
Yeah.
What the hell's, let's see if it goes like that over here. My screen was turning black. Well, it might show on the card.
Are you here?
Full. I said that like once or twice.
No, dude.
Well, we can look back at all the kids.
I will. I'm going to make a whole blooper roll.
Count. Count how many times.
I am. Watch on the video. I'm going to do all. I'm going to do a. I'm going to make a whole.
You can do a blooper all you want.
I'm going to do
I didn't say it that many times.
I'm going to do a whole blooper roll of you saying, "Are you here?" And I'm going to have a count of everyone. 1, 2,